Hello my friends, and welcome back to another episode of making Skyrim more lively with a bunch of immersion mods. I know, the word has been diluted over the years, but I did my best to include some actual immersion to make the game feel more believable and lifelike. If you're new here, hi, I'm Raina, the Bard's College graduate, and now let's check out the first insanely immersive mod on the list. Of course, to make this northern part of Tamriel feel more lively, we need more people, especially to fill up the empty roads. For this purpose, we're using MINPCs, aka more immersive NPCs. This mod was first released back in 2019, but has gotten a fresh update just last year. It's an absolute beast for adding new people traveling the roads of Skyrim, as it adds a ton of new NPCs wandering throughout the province, as well as 2 new locations, a quest, and 4 unique followers.
They're just so adorable and fascinating. I just wish the bigger ones felt the same way about me. I just want to pet them. I've spent my life studying bugs. Just let me know if you ever want to hear an interesting bug fact.
There are many types of new NPCs this mod adds. Generic adventurers, couriers zooming beside you to get their letters delivered on time, and criminals who are on the run from the steel grip of law, but also spies, scouts, dealers, and members of the Companions, and Silverblood mercenaries, among other people. Adventurers may sometimes join you on a mission to clear out the dungeon, and more often than not, a fight may ensue on the roads of Skyrim. The new locations added by this mod are the Raider's Refuge, a cave in the Whiterun Plains, which is a home to many NPCs added by this mod, and this place has everything a lone adventurer might need on their travels.
You're in the Raider's Refuge, friend. Summing this place up in a sentence would be impossible. We've got the bar, which I run. A couple of training dummies for, well, training.
The second location is called the Blade and Bunk Inn, and it can be found next to the Hardwood Mill in the beautiful Rift Hold. It also offers many of the same conveniences as the cave, but it may be a bit friendlier place for many.
There's an Argonian that rents out room 1. Jikka, I think his name is. He asked me to send anybody looking for mercenaries his way. He isn't here now, though. He tends to stay here on Loredas and Sundas.
If the previous mod feels like too much for you, I have a great alternative right here. In fact, the name of this mod is also More Immersive NPCs, which is Trailblazers More Immersive NPCs. That is because this one is based on the earlier mod. I tried using both mods together and had no major issues, but I can't say for certain if it's a good idea. In any case, this mod also adds all kinds of new NPCs in the game, allies and foes, weak and strong, and so forth, all in order to make your game feel richer. The purpose of this mod is to make you feel like the game no longer revolves around the player, with the help of these 100 new NPCs that have been voiced with edited vanilla dialogue and voice acting.
My trip to Skyrim has become quite the adventure. That is the very purpose that brought me to Skyrim.
The tone of this mod is mature and realistic, and there has been some dark humor sprinkled in too, inspired by the Witcher series, while staying true to the lore of Tamriel. The many features of this mod includes new NPCs, some of them with dialogue, and there are also new encounters and scenes, as well as potential followers and spouses. There are also new quests, for example in the Rift, a quest called Shady Business, in which you're investigating a gang trying to overthrow their supplier, and you have to choose your alliances in this corrupted city.
Well, a little bird once told me that the gangs of Riften are fighting over skooma. They're based alongside the waterfront, over at them shacks, but I wouldn't go there if I were you.
After playing this mod a while, It's actually hard to summarize everything it has to offer, as there is a surprising amount of content included, and all of it feels faithful to each whole story and setting.
We are reclaiming the Reach from those heathen natives. They seem to be staying in the mine, but who knows how long that will last.
The thing with Trailblazer is that it may be incompatible with many popular mods, as it edits many cities and locations to make the new people feel a real part of the world. Regardless, if you can fit it in your mod list, it's a great immersive addition to your game.
Milk drinker!
Enough of new NPCs for a little while. Let's focus on the Dragonborn now. I have an incredible, underrated mod which was released not too long ago. This is Disguise, simple disguise system. Basically, this mod allows you to dress up as a member of any faction in the game, utilizing speechcraft while being all stealthy, infiltrating the enemy ranks. With this mod, if you're wearing enough armor or clothing pieces of a faction, they will accept you as their own if you have leveled up speech and chosen the new perks. On the other hand, if the enemy of the faction you're dressed up as is in your vicinity, they will attack you on sight. For example, dressing up as a Forsworn and waltzing into Markarth might not be the greatest idea, unless you're looking for a massive fight. It's also good to remember that you need to put on these clothes out of sight, and there is the possibility that someone can see through your disguise. In addition, if you have been caught doing a crime, but you manage to change your clothes and walk away, you lose the bounty. Very handy for many types of shady characters. Now, I know this mod is really a gameplay mod, but I do find it immersive, and if you do too, please do give it a try. I think this mod has been severely overlooked, and it deserves all the love and downloads and endorsements it can get. The next mod in order is Serious Civil War Fort Personnel, which is all about making the forts feel like proper military garrisons, as it adds non-combat personnel stationed to these different locations. These new NPCs are quartermasters, acolytes, cooks, and servants in 9 different military forts, and they support the troops any way they can, whether it's keeping the fort in order or supplying the soldiers with fresh food and garments. Naturally, there are also prisoners to be found in the prison cells, and they are all locked with keys that can be found somewhere in the fort. With this mod, Imperial forts now all have shrines of Stendarr, and Stormcloak-aligned forts have shrines of Talos, which was expected, but they are a good addition to say for sure. This mod makes the forts in use of Civil War feel more realistic and is a great small addition to the game. In addition to the Civil War, there is another war brewing, the war against the vampires, which the good warriors of Dawnguard are waging. With Dawnguard Patrols, there are now new patrols added to various locations in Skyrim as the vampire hunters guard the roads from the vicious bloodsuckers. With this mod, each night there is a possibility that these patrols are ambushed by the bloodthirsty vampires, which is your cue to help out the faction of your choice. These patrols scale with the player level, and the NPCs have different weapons of their choice based on their race, and some may carry torches and crossbows. There is also a new follower that comes with this mod, Stabs at Bats, an Argonian warrior, and he can be found outside Riverwood or the Sleeping Giant Inn. This mod makes the Dawnguard DLC feel more integrated into the base game, as seeing these patrols feels realistic in this situation of having to fight against the creatures of the night. The next mod on our list is a tad bit more wholesome than the previous ones. This is Heart-to-Heart Conversations Among Family. This mod livens up your family life with more than 280 new conversation scenes that are created by carefully splicing and repurposing existing dialogue.
I like it here. The tree in the park is so pretty.
Indeed. Kinnereth humbles us with her beauty.
With this mod, your spouse will now do the bare minimum and finally acknowledge the existence of your adopted children and talk with them about various subjects.
A good house. However, I think I like the lake here just a little more.
Yeah, I like living here. The lake is so pretty.
Moreover, if you have any sweet dogs in your family, children may also talk to them about their dreams, fears, and secrets. The conversations vary between the locations that you're in, which also adds some much needed family-related immersion in this game.
I hate Markarth. There's nowhere to play. It's all just rocks. Rocks, rocks, rocks.
Quit your belly aching.
Another wholesome mod I have today on the list is Camilla gets married. Yes, finally our dear beautiful Camilla Valerius has her big day, as she has chosen from one of the two of her suitors. Is it the bard Sven or is it the hunter Feindal? That's up to you, of course, but with this mod, Camilla gets engaged with one or the other, and after a while sends you an invitation to their wedding.
To bear witness to the union of two souls in eternal companionship. May they journey forth together in this life and in the next, in
After
prosperity.
the ceremony in Riften, the newlywed couple will travel back to Riverwood, and Camilla will finally move out of her and her brother's house and live with her husband, as is appropriate. And they lived happily ever after. If you're using one of the suitors as a follower, they will stop doing so and rather just go home to their wife, which is understandable after all. Next, let's check out Location Roleplay Notes. This mod is fairly simple and sweet, as it's adding many notes and letters in the game for you to read. They're not only for the pleasure of reading, but for hardcore or serious role players to use as the reason to explore some specific location in the game. I mean, think about it. Why would your character randomly walk into the woods nearby Riverwood and explore Embershard Mine, aside from only for hunting and gathering herbs? It's not the best example, I know, but no, you can find a letter to Alvar in Alvar's house, rudely read it, and ta-da! Now you have a roleplay specific reason to look for the mine and explore it throughout. Not everyone plays in this way, but those who do, this subtle mod is absolute gold to have in your load order. Now the next mod might be unimmersive for some and immersive for some. It all depends on your character. Dragon Wall Wisdom, Readable Dragon Walls, is a mod that uncovers the secrets that lie within the mysterious dragon walls and lets you read them in plain old English with a pop-up UI menu. It's honestly amazing how these word walls actually have meanings and are just not gibberish, but there was previously no way to decipher their meaning without going into the USP. But now, with this mod, maybe a scholar type of character is proficient in the dragon language and knows exactly what these walls have to say. On the other hand, if your character is all muscle and no brain, maybe it's better to leave this mod in Nexus this time. Finally, I'd like to introduce a little bit of immersion related to the graphics of Skyrim, especially the cold, snowy parts of the province. With snowy ships, snowy carts, and snowy standing stones for snowy regions, these objects are now covered with snow. So simple, yet so effective, as the snow keeps piling as it comes down, yet somehow in vanilla, these boats, carts, and standing stones have been just recently brushed clean. Seriously, that just takes me right out the game, and with this mod, I can finally enjoy the snow. That's today's immersion picks. What did you think? And what did I miss? Let me know in the comments section down below. And by the way, look at these people right here. They're the reason I can keep creating these videos. Join the supporters and get some fun perks by checking out patreon.com/partcollagegraduate. Thanks to Eric's Lagenvite, Big Wang, Billy Duncan, Divine Cleric, Don't Bunker, Frank Brackett, Jay Osteola, Kitram, Onshore Flyer 15, Ryan Ulrich, and the Panic Monk, and Zach Bell, and my other supporters whom I appreciate so much. Thank you so much for watching the video. See ya!